Been getting a lot of inquiries from folks asking if Merida is still a great place to live due to the rising cost. And I would say absolutely yes, it's still a great place to live. And yes, the costs of living in Merida are rising, and they're rising pretty sharp, increasingly. But there are some things you can do. And in this video, I'm going to talk about some of the different things that you can do to still see the benefits um, and whatnot. So let's go ahead and get started. Number one, now y'all see this area out here. This here is part of the north side of Merida, and as you can see, is very modern and upscale to a certain degree. You know, like we just passed the Liverpool, the mall. Right there is Costco. Down the road is a Sam's Club and all of that stuff. A lot of luxuries from home. I find that when you choose to live in this more modern area, more upscale area, the costs are going to be significantly higher. Many of the expats tend to live out here in this area, like Montebello, Montes de Ame, Monte Cristo, Mexico Oriente, Mexico Norte. These are different neighborhoods, and you're going to pay a lot more money for a place. So one of the ways to bring your costs down, in my opinion, is to stay out of the areas where most expats tend to live. Now, it's not necessarily true that expats are driving the cost up in a particular area because, quite frankly, there's not enough of us here to be driving the cost of anything up. But there are more middle class, wealthy Mexicans from other states moving into Merida due to the safety factor here. So they're bringing their monies, they're bringing their wealth, they're bringing their income, and they moving here and they're living in many of these areas, even the areas out here. You know what I mean? So again, if you're trying to be budget conscious, spend a lot less on housing than you are in the states. Again, stay out of these modern areas. Stay out of these areas where foreigners tend to conjugate at, and you'll save a lot of money. I'm gonna show you the difference in how some areas may look different, but they're still safe. You can still get a good quality home. But there's again, it's different. You're paying for convenience to be out here in these areas, in many cases, and it can cost you quite a bit of money. So the best thing to do if you want to save some money, of course, obviously, stay outside of these areas where expats and foreigners tend to go. Uh, Consider staying and investigating areas in the east, the west, the south, etc. Consider going outside of Merida. Now, I just want to show you this street. We're riding down this street. Keep riding straight or turn right. This, this, what you're seeing here, this is what a typical Mexican residential area will look like. A lot of folks are turned off and put off by the appearance, but this is what, for the most part, much of Merida is going to look like. If this is not something that you like, then and you want something much more appealing, then you're probably going to want to be in more of the more modern areas. Problem with that is you're going to spend a lot more money. But this here is the norm. This is what it looks like. If this turns you off, that street is closed. That's what that sign say. Don't turn down here. If this turns you off, Mexico might not be for you. Now, like I say, they do have more modern areas, more prettier, more fancier, absolutely. Um, but you're gonna pay. You're gonna pay more money. So if you're not saving money, it's probably because you ended up in something much more fancier. You know, you have your fancy neighborhoods like Montebello, very upscale, but you're gonna pay. So again, be willing to um, inspect areas outside of the perimeter of Merida, and these would become other cities outside of Merida, but many of these cities are only like 10, 15 minutes away from Merida. So you still have a close proximity. Now, I would live in any of these out here on this street. There's nothing. This is, in fact, this is a middle class, upscale, well, middle class neighborhood, Jardines del Norte, and have everything you need. And I'm just showing you. I want you to see what it don't. This is the norm. This is what you can expect to see 85% of the places that you go. Anything outside of this, expect to pay more money if you want fancy. Like I say, there's absolutely nothing wrong with this neighborhood. Very safe, very walkable, very friendly. Lots of options. You can head on back to the house. Lots of options and stuff like that. You're not going to miss out on anything. And again, this is what to expect. Don't expect anything beyond this unless you're living in the more upscale areas and you're gonna pay more money. Just get a real good look at this. Play the video back. I want you to understand this is the norm. I'm repeating this because everybody seems to be shocked when they get here. Like, oh my God, I didn't know it was like this. Yes, it is like this. There are small pockets in different areas where you'll see the fancy malls, you'll see the casinos, you'll see the fancy restaurants. But in terms of living, this is what you're going to get. We're going to come up here. I'm going to let you see. My daughter has her therapist is right up the street, 1 block up the road. We come here once or twice a week. This is where we up in this area all the time. This is common. This is Mexico. Well, at least Merida. I had a lady I met up today, came from Chapala. She said she landed 2 days ago, and she was like, "This is like the New York City compared to where she was." And she was in this other place for 5 years. She was overwhelmed with all the things they had over here in Merida. You know what I mean? So I'm letting y'all know this is it. This is Mexico. This is Merida. So some tips. Again, be willing to stay outside of the perimeter, go further out. Stay outside of areas that are known for foreigners to live, move to expats and immigrants, and be willing to take your time. There's no rush. Take your time. If you want to stay in the north and the modern areas, you can find deals. There's always an exception. If you really want that, there are opportunities to find deals. You just have to be patient. You know what I mean? The options are there. You just gotta be patient and take your time. So that's that in terms of real estate. Other way to save money. Again, a lot of folks are saying, hey, they're not saving money, it's expensive here, et cetera, et cetera. And there's generally some things that they're doing that's driving their cost up. And food and entertainment is the other. If you wasn't eating out every day in the United States, then you shouldn't expect to come here and be eating out every day in Mexico and expect to save money. A lot of folk, for whatever reason, they get here and they go out to eat 5 days a week, 5 to 7 days a week. And their mind is, well, the food, is cheaper. Well, it depends on where you're going to eat. If you're going to these chain restaurants, big brand restaurants, you're going to pay more money. And again, if you weren't eating out 5 to 7 days a week in the States, you shouldn't be eating out 5 to 7 days a week here. Even though things can be less expensive, the frequency in which you go out is going to drive your budget up. It's going to drive your expenses up. So be mindful of how often you eat. If you only ate out once or twice a month, you might want to continue that trend once you get here. Oftentimes, well, I'll say that for another one. But so be mindful. Hit up mom and pop restaurants. If eat where the locals eat. Stay out of them chains. I keep saying this over and over again because folks still continue to go to these chains. One of the most expensive places to go eat is to go eat at a Chili's, McDonald's. The place is expensive here. You know what I mean? I went and got some donuts from from Krispy Kreme. Man, I bought like 3 donuts, some things for like $6. I bought like a half dozen in the market in the store. It was $10 for 6 donuts, just because it's a name a brand name from the States. So again, you're gonna see your uh, Burger King, you're gonna see your McDonald's, you're gonna see your Krispy Kremes, you're gonna see your Chili's, your Boston's, you're gonna see all of that. Starbucks, stay out of that. Eat local, find out where the locals eat, buy the local drinks, buy the local food, and you're gonna save you some money. Number three, and this kind of goes back to number two, try and hang out with locals. Try and meet locals, try and befriend locals, try and hang out with locals. Locals don't go out there and spend money like that. You know what I mean? But when you're hanging out with other immigrants or expats, um, you're gonna spend more money because again, oftentimes they're going out and they're doing meetups, hanging out every week, hanging out 2 to 3 times a week. And each time they hang out, the thing they do, they going out to eat all the time. And again, your money, your expenses can go sky high real quick when you're going out, hanging out with other foreigners. You know what I mean? That's something I see it all the time. They going out to eat on he got right away. He going out to eat all the time. They always have right away. Every single time. There's no exception. He was making sure you're gonna stop. He hit them, you automatic go to jail. I can't save you. You know what I'm saying? Um, Also, number four, when you go to the grocery store, leave the name brand stuff alone in the grocery store. Try and find a local equivalent. Oftentimes, a lot of the stuff that we do use, they don't use at all, but they will stock it in these chains. So, like right now, this is a grocery store called Super Arcade. Them jokers expensive too. I try not to go here. I generally try and go to Chedraui or Storiana, but this one is very close to the house. It's convenient. When you shop in these grocery stores, any of them, and you're looking for American brand, whether it's Kraft, Heinz, I'm trying to think of some of the other name brands. You know what I'm talking about. You see, you want your Tabasco sauce, you gonna pay. It's gonna cost you. You get your American sodas in here, you're gonna pay more for the American brand. So this don't just apply to the my microphone on. It don't just apply to restaurants. It also applies to stores where you get your ingredients, like your seasonings. You want the McCormick brand, you're gonna pay. They have the local brand, which is like you almost getting like a 75% discount by buying the local brand. Learn to use the local stuff because going into the grocery store and stocking up on American name brand items and American name brand seasonings that you used to, it's gonna cost you. Remember, that's to import that stuff in, and there's a cost for that. So it's not gonna be cheap. So these are little tricks of the trade to use in the grocery store. Now there are some things that I just have to have. For me, I'm gonna get my Heinz ketchup. There's no exception. You know what I'm saying? Um, I do frequent Costco on occasion. And the primary thing I get from Costco, I like to get some cauliflower rice, which is actually very affordable in there. And I'll buy my bundle of chicken wings. There's a lady that I got, a butcher here. Um, Now that we're living in Concal, it might be worthwhile going to her to get it. When we were living in the city, um, when we were living in the city, somebody hit my dog on the door. When we were living in the city, it was too much of a drive to try to be doing all of that, coming back and forth to Concal and all of that. And so we just started going back to Costco to buy our stuff, get our chicken wings. But now that we're here, it might resume getting our chicken wings out here to save a few dollars. So again, buy the local brand. And my wife, she like these forget the brand name of those pickles, but she found a place where she go get her little pickles, and so pay a little more because it's name brand. It's a U.S. brand label, so you're gonna pay for that. So be mindful of that. Understand that. So that's number 4, I believe. Number 5, refill your own water if you can. Now that water, so generally when you get here, you want to buy one of them 5-gallon jugs. And when you buy your first one, you can go like play like OXO. It can cost you about $5 to get the first one that's full. $5 a jug. Then when you go, when you after you get the initial jug, now you can go back and refill it for like $1.50. Or the delivery guy in the truck will deliver water to your house. It can cost you $1.50. The other alternative is they got watering stations all over the city. You can go fill that up yourself for 10 pesos, 10 to 12 pesos, which is about 55 cents. So 50 cents versus $1.50 for one jug. So what you pay for one jug in the store, or the delivery guy for $1.50 for one for a refill, you can get 3 of them if you fill it yourself. You just go to one of these watering stations, put 10 pesos in the machine, and it'll fill the 5 gallons up. Don't sound like much, but when you're going through all that water multiple times a month, and refilling your water, and over 12 months, that stuff is adding up. You know what I mean? So again, the goal is to kind of crunch costs, cut costs everywhere you can because they add up. Especially if you're eating out, on a regular basis with your friends. If you're hanging out, um, if you're buying stuff from the markets, I mean, not from the markets, buying name brand stuff from the supermarkets and all of that stuff, all of the stuff start to add up. So your goal is to try and cut costs in different places, especially if you're going to be using it somewhere else. If you like to eat out at fancy restaurants, cut your costs in the other areas to support the habit. You know what I mean? Number 6, check multiple pharmacies for your medicines. All these different pharmacies, they have different pricing structures. Some medicines are going to cost way more in one pharmacy than they would at the other. So shop different ones to find out which ones give where you can get your medicines at the best deal. I buy medicines for my blood pressure. I got medications for Haley. Kim has medication. So you buy a lot of medication, and at the end of the month, you see that, man, we spending X amount of dollars. You might be able to cut your costs by 50% by going to another pharmacy. Also, some of these pharmacies, like Farmacia Similares, they have deals on Mondays. You come in there, you get like 3 boxes for the price of one, or they might give you 2 boxes for the price of two. However, they always have specials, half off. The deals are worth going to explore. Buy 1 box, get 2 boxes free, something like that. So again, those are the times to kind of stack up. Plus, they're already cheap. Stack up, and now you have a big supply of medicine. And again, it'll save money on your pocket. You know what I'm saying? Um, Also, produce. If you can find local markets, numbers. I don't know what number I'm on now. 6, I believe, or 7. Buy your produce at the local market. You know what I mean? There's generally in your neighborhood or in your area. Find the local market. Find out when they're out. Go out there and get your produce there. Generally save a significant amount of money. Like, just to give an example, potatoes. Kids love making their own fries in the air fryer. When we go to the grocery store, the potatoes are like 40, 44 pesos per kilo. When you go to the market, they're like 22 um, pesos per kilo. That's half just by going to the market. And you generally get bigger, better quality at the market and much fresher anyway. So I know that for a fact. I know one time we were in another city called Motul. The produce was even cheaper out there in the grocery store. So again, some of the chain grocery stores, You go to different parts of town, the food will will most likely be cheaper in one side of town versus the other side of town. So these are just little things you could be doing to save that money. Number 8, I think I'm at. If you don't have a car and you're doing ride share, you're doing Uber, make sure you download DD app and download the InDriver app. And generally, depending on where I'm going, if I'm pressed for time, I'll check all three to see which one is cheaper. It's not unusual to be, Uber I find tend to be the most expensive. Not unusual for me to put a ride in for Uber and it's like 75 pesos. Then I go right behind and drop in Didi for the same location. Come down from 80 pesos, it become 40 pesos. The other day I was looking at something 50 pesos to Walmart, put it in Didi, it was 35 pesos. So if you're doing that ride sharing thing a lot, and it's multiple of y'all in the household using ride sharing apps, get everybody on board to be testing, checking the price. I generally find um, DD to be significantly cheaper and faster than Uber. Sometimes I will drop in driver with my own bid and get it just as cheap or cheaper sometimes. So check all three. It don't cost you any money to check what the price is before you order. Them numbers add up. Especially when I get a number back from Uber saying it's 110 pesos. I immediately put it in DD, it might be 55. So the savings are drastic. I think I'm on number 9 or 10, somewhere in between there. Um, when you get a quote, when you need services done, do a minimum of 4 quotes because the prices can vary drastically. Don't be so eager to jump off at the first one or the second one. Get 4, especially if you're using an American phone number. Ideally, you want to try and get a local phone number, get a local SIM card. So when you message these folks in WhatsApp, they'll at least assume you're from here until you start talking. And when you request a quote, use as few words as possible in Spanish. You know what I mean? When you message them, you don't have to call them. Most of these folks communicate via WhatsApp by the way of text in the WhatsApp app. Just text them and get a quote. But reach out to 4 people. No matter what it is. If you're trying to take a class on such as a call 4 different schools, get the prices. Now again, that's another way to save you some significant money. Don't be so anxious to jump at the first one. I've cut my costs down significantly by getting quotes from multiple places. Number 11, I think, if you are trying to, I forgot. Yeah, number 11. Buy your stuff on Facebook Marketplace. If you're here and you're buying your house, buying furniture and stuff like that to replenish your house, go to Facebook Marketplace first. See what you can find there. You can generally save quite a bit of money. I generally, before I go buy anything new, I would hit up Marketplace to see what the stuff is. Why are you putting me on here? You all up over here like you try to be all up in here. I go to Facebook Marketplace first to see what's up. And I buy a lot of stuff on Facebook Marketplace. I just bought my computer on Facebook Marketplace, brand new iMac 2022, I believe it was 2023. I don't know, one of the newer models. Completely works. Everything. A lot of times you'll find that people will deliver the stuff to your house for free. Or if they charge, it might be an extra 100 pesos, which is like $5 if they're delivering furniture. So hit up Facebook Marketplace. Facebook Marketplace is the most convenient thing here because they will bring it to you most of the time. Not all the time, much of the time they'll bring it to you if you ask them. We bought a PlayStation. Was that a PlayStation? Bought a PlayStation for my kids on Christmas. They brought it to the house, and it's without obligation. They come in, they plug it up, make sure it works, and let you see it. And if you don't want it, no obligation. Bought my daughter an iPhone. They brought it to the house on a motorcycle in the rain. No obligation. If we didn't want it, we didn't have to buy it. But they brought it to the house. Both of those instances, they didn't charge anything extra. You know what I mean? So it's a different culture out here. They about getting their money. If they got to drive it, they gonna drive it. They gonna come and get it. They ain't gonna lose that sale. So you utilize Facebook Marketplace for everything. Need audio equipment, video equipment, need lights for your videos, you need microphones, cooking utensils. Go to Marketplace. Check it out. That again, this is just a way to cut costs and save some money. Number 12 or 13, I think. Going back to the InDriver app. If you need stuff done around the house, inside the InDriver app, you can, cause remember, InDriver app is also a ride sharing app. They'll haul you around town, take you anywhere you want to go. But you can also place bids or have people place bids. Or no, they'll bid on your project. So if you want somebody to come paint your house, they'll ask you inside the app, they'll ask you to take pictures of the walls and you give a description of what you're looking for. And you can go to the painter section and then post a job. You know, you might post what you want to pay or just let them bid on it. And then you get all these bids and to show their reviews, et cetera, et cetera. And then you can hire the person to do that. Not only do they do household stuff, you can find housekeepers, you can find painters, you can find repair folks. Need somebody to come hang up the television in your house. You can post a job, tell them what kind of TV, you know, in terms of size, 60-inch television, put it on the wall. You got the bracket, and people would be and say, "Hey, I'll do it for $20. I'll come hang it up." You need some cables run, whatever you need. Need somebody to walk your dog. You can post a job for that. Need somebody to clean your refrigerator. Whatever you need done inside of InDriver, you can post the job. And again, it's another way to save money, particularly if you're concerned about getting ripped off or taken advantage of because you don't know English. Just write out the job description. Again, use as little words as possible because they can recognize when you're using the app when you're talking. So that's why I say it's best to use a few words as possible in the description just to get the bid. And you get to pick. If you want the people to come the same day to do the job, they can. If you want them to come tomorrow, you can post a job for it to show, you know, for them to start tomorrow. You specify the time. And not just that, if you need somebody to move your house, move your furniture, you can also post that job inside of InDriver as well. We had a lady have her whole house moved for like $60. You know what I mean? So post it in the InDriver app. So again, just another way to save money. You know, just moved into a new house, I need an air conditioning unit hung up. Um, come to InDriver, post a job. We've had that done quite a few times. There was no air conditioning unit in the house, in the living room. They wanted that. They didn't want to pass the house up because it was a great deal. So when they bought their own AC unit, posted a job on InDriver. Need somebody to come put screens on your windows. InDriver, all of that. Number 14 or 13 or 14. Get a local phone number. Get a local. I kept my number for about 6 months when I came here, my U.S. number. And that phone bill was like $89 a month. After 6 months, I was like, I can't do it no more. And I finally broke down and got me a local Mexican phone number and got rid of my U.S. number. You know what? That bill went from $89 a month. Now I pay $10 a month. Big savings. Then I got my kids on the phone. They got $10 a month lines as well down here. So as you can see, you can save a significant amount of money by dropping that number. Now, I did need to keep my U.S. number because I still have my banks attached to it. And, you know, sometimes you have to get a code from your bank to log into your bank account and all of that stuff to log in. And so you still need your U.S. number. So by signing up with Google Voice, I was able to port my number, my U.S. number. So it's like a one-time $20 fee to port the number. And then I paid $6.95 for the number. I downloaded the Google Voice app, and my number is ported to that app. And so anybody who called that number, it rings straight to my phone via the app. I also get text messages. I can make phone calls. I can receive phone calls as usual. No, when a person calls me, there's nothing to indicate that I'm using a third-party service. Nothing. It rings straight to my line. I'm able to have a conversation with them. So all I pay is $6.95 for my old U.S. number. I can still reach out and get access to my banks and all the other stuff that I needed it for as well. So that cutting that phone bill was a big savings. If you still paying 70, 80, $90 a month for your cell phone bill, man, it's ridiculous. Cut that real quick, port your number over, and save yourself a boatload of money, man. Because $89 a month, that just round out up to $100 a month. That's $1,200 a year versus $120 a year for a local number. Big savings. And with my $10 a month plan, I get unlimited calls to the United States, unlimited calls within Mexico, unlimited calls to Canada as well. And I can receive calls and text messages from all three countries as well. And it worked like a champ, y'all. And when I go to the United States, that phone number works too. So in fact, I got a chance to check it out because when I went to my daughter's wedding back in November, guess what? I had my Mexican phone with me, my number, and I was able to make calls, continue to make calls. I was able to call my mom, because I was roaming on the U.S. network. You know what I mean? So, hey, worked just as well. So that's that. That's all I can think of. I'm gonna stop right there. If you find this information useful and helpful, hey, just hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe. If you'd like to book a consultation, talk about your plan for moving abroad, visit our website, moveabroadandthrive.com/consultation. Shoot me an email, cartes@cartesross.com. Also, consider joining our VIP group. Inside of our VIP group, we do interviews and we open it up live for our members to talk directly to the guest. That way you can ask them questions yourself directly and get feedback from someone that's traveling, living in other places as well. I'm on those calls as well, doing the interviews. You can talk to me directly. We also have a section called Ask Cartes. Feel free to post your questions in the members area. I'll answer them myself directly. And so moveabroadandthrive.com/VIP. And I think that is it. Thank you for watching. Have a nice day.